why is road rage such a thing? Why does that?
Yeah. Driving is just the absolute perfect scenario for leading to anger. Everything about it. I mean, truly, if you were an evil genius and you wanted to create a situation that was going to make people mad, you would create one that looked like driving.
Right. I got to get from here to here.
Yep. I got goals, and there's people in the way of those goals. Those people who are blocking them are anonymous to me. So I can think or say whatever I want, right? I can call them a total fucking idiot.
Yeah.
And I don't know. They might be a genius, and I'll have no idea. There's all these unwritten rules of the road. I mean, there's written rules, but then there's also like what speed should you be going, right? I mean,
right. So there's vagueness in there too, which can.
Yeah. So it's a thing I often ask my students is what speed should you go on the interstate? And because nobody says, the speed limit, it's always 5 over, 10 over, 15 over, right?
Yeah.
And so if you and I are on the road and we have different, what's your answer to that?
My answer, probably 11 miles over.
Okay. So I'm pretty close to that. I'm like 9.
Okay.
Right. I tend to set the cruise at 9 over. So if you and I encounter each other on the road and you're behind me, well, you get mad because I'm not obeying your, arbitrary rule. Right. And I get mad because you're a hazard, right? You're riding my bumper or whatever because, hey, I'm already going fast enough. Right?
Yeah.
So these arbitrary rules set people off. All of that ends up and then on top of that, it's kind of a nerve-wracking situation. We don't actually think of it. We've been driving long enough that we forget how anxiety-provoking it actually is. But it's dangerous, right? And so like real harm can happen. And so all of that tends to exacerbate that likelihood of getting angry when people slow us down or get in the way. And then add to it that the consequences are so significant of people running people off the road when they get mad. People.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, just things like that. Like that. Those consequences, we see those, right? I mean, they're very visible. In fact, we have seen more road rage related shootings in the last 2 years than ever before. That people are getting aggressive.
Oh yeah, if I'm aggressive, dude, and I have a gun. It's anybody's ball game, dude.
There we go.
Very unfortunate, very senseless. Visitors witnessed deadly Myrtle Beach road rage shooting. Yeah. Oh, yeah. They call it Murder Beach now, I think.
Jeez.
Every place is starting to be called like murder something. But yeah, people are just shooting. They just... I had a friend in New Orleans that died in a road rage. It's crazy. It's really crazy. But it's that intense moment. But as a driver, if you can play it out in your head, like you were saying earlier, how do I want this to play out?
Yep.
The truth is, you probably want that guy to get a flat tire sometime the next day or whatever. That's fine. But right now, you want to get to where you're going.
And honestly, most of the time in those situations, I want to get as far from that person as possible. Yeah. Like I don't want to interact with them.
Yeah, you can't be following them. What is this? Somebody road raging?
Oh,
this guy punched open a back window. That's hard to do.
Yes. That is hard to do. Uh-oh.
Oh, this seems like a she just popped the trunk, boy. Dang, bro, she's carrying. She got a hatchet.
What?
Ooh, and he hit her. And those are children.
That's his fault, dude.
That's wild.
But it is crazy. That one guy, he acted like they were crazy for coming after him after he went and hit their window.
Broke their,
But it's crazy. You would think you just leave. If somebody broke your window, that dude, that guy or whatever.
These incidents are everywhere now. I mean, you scroll through. I mean, that's the part of it. So I had a weird interaction right outside my kid's school one day where I was parked waiting for pickup, and this woman came and she parked her car in front of me, and she was backing up, and I got a little anxious that she didn't realize how close she was.
Yeah.
And so I honked, but it wasn't. I mean, to me, this is what a horn is for, actually, right? It's like to alert someone, like, hey, you might hit me. Yeah. Not because I was mad. I wasn't. But wow, it made her mad. Like she was really mad that I'd honked at her. But what was interesting is that she got out of the car and she came over to talk to me, and she immediately started recording. like she took her phone out and started like videoing the situation. I think thinking that we might
Things might escalate.
Things might escalate, and wanting it captured if it did. And I think that like, which I do wonder sometimes, do phones? And I don't have an answer to this. Do phones de-escalate situations, or do they escalate them? You know, like if
right. Once the show is on, now do I have to perform?
right. I had a soccer coach come yell at me one day. Not just me, like yell at the fans at a game, and I've often, I mean, he was out of control. I've often wondered what would have happened if I'd just taken my phone out and started recording. Would he have been like, "Oh, I should back away," or would he?
Right, or if that would just exacerbate it.
Yeah, and I don't know.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, because that's interesting. It's almost like art imitates life or whatever. It's like we're just like if we're watching something violent happen and then we get involved in something violent, the first thing to do then a lot of times wouldn't even be to help. It would be to record.
Right. Right.
Because that's what we just saw. If we just saw something recorded.
Right.
Gosh.
It makes me, I mean, I truly wonder, is that, I mean, there must be circumstances where that's the smart thing to do, where that is going to de-escalate.
Right.
You know, where people are going to start to sort of say like, oh, I don't want to be famous.
Yeah, I think if someone is probably urinating in your yard or something, then you definitely, I'm going to record you and then be like, oh, I'm not going to be doing this on that camera, on the camera. I'm going to put my pants up or whatever. But I think if it's somebody who's just like, I don't know. That's a good question.
I think part of the question is how rational are they in that moment, right? You know, I mean, if they're
they might be doing it as a safety mechanism.
Yep.
I'm going to make sure things don't get out of control here.
Right. Yep.
But yeah, road rage, commonly characterized by aggressive driving, is a factor in more than 50% of all car crashes that end in fatality, according to AAA. In fact, in a separate years-long study, road rage episodes resulted in about 30 deaths and 1,800 injuries per year.
Yeah. This is, you know, it's funny. One of the things that I oftentimes talk to people about, and it's like so I did a TED talk on anger a few.
Yeah, I've seen it
back a while ago, and so like the premise of that talk is that anger is good for you. There it is. That anger's like good for you in all these different ways. One circumstance that I would not advocate anger is behind the wheel. Right? It's just it feels like there's no good outcome. That it just puts you in a dangerous spot, and better to just back away and
let it go.
Yeah, let it go.